What is going on, guys? It's your boy CJ Beasley here, back again. Today we have yet another battle video from the ICBA. This week we are taking on Coach D. Willie, coach of the Brisbane Scythers. If you guys haven't checked him out yet, I believe his battle video is already up. I know mine's coming out late. I've just been getting caught up. But this should be the last week this happens. Again, sorry to the league and all of you guys watching, as this battle video is coming up pretty late. So but anyways, his side should be up, so go check that out. But anyways, he is 4-1 right now. Really good battler. So we definitely have our workout cut out for us, if I could speak English properly. But he has a team of Landorus, Therian, Sheer Force, and Sand Force, I believe, with the Mega Charizard X, the Coco, the Slowbro, Snorlax, Chestnut, Mandibuzz, Bronzong, Hitmonlee, Crustle, and Weezing. So honestly, a pretty interesting squad. Just off the bat, I realized that his removal options consist of Coco and Mandibuzz and Landorus and Hitmonlee, so he has pretty good removal options. But you know, his team really doesn't like Toxic Spikes. That's the first thing I noticed. As the only thing immune to it would be a Charizard before it Mega Evolves, or the Landorus, or the Weezing, and Bronzong obviously. But besides that, and the Mandibuzz, I guess. But his threats like Coco, the Slowbro, the Snorlax, Chestnut, Hitmonlee, all those things don't like being toxic at all. So if I can get a layer of Toxic Spikes up, that will definitely help. Otherwise, Mega Charizard is a real big threat, even with the Milotic. It hits Milotic so hard. So anyways, guys, we're gonna just hop right into things. So first up, we got Arenola, the Milotic, with the Flame Orb from Marble Scale, Scald, Toxic, Recover, and Haze, with max HP, max defense, and 4 special defense with a bold nature. Basically, this is just designed to take on things like Landorus if it's physical, which I don't expect it to be physical, and but if it is, it can take it on. Also, stuff like the Hitmonlee can take a hit even if it's up +1, I believe. It can also take a hit from obviously it's made for the Charizard, and just kind of being able to beat that thing, or at least get rid of its Dragon Dances enough so where something else can come in and revenge it. So that's kind of the idea behind the Milotic, just a basic Milotic, I feel. Next up, we got Aaron Knapp, I believe it's Aaron Knapp, with the Garbodor, with the Black Sledge, Aftermath, Gunk Shot, Toxic, Pain Split, and Toxic Spikes, with the 220 HP, 44 defense, and 244 special defense with a Careful Nature. Now this thing, obviously, as you can tell, it gets walled by the Bronzong, so it gets completely walled by the Bronzong, aside from being able to Pain Split it. But I honestly don't mind, as I do have a lot of good checks to that thing, and I don't even know if it's going to be coming, as its only good matchup is really just here for the rocks and obviously this. But Gunk Shot hits pretty much everything on its team really hard. It can also OHKO a Hitmonlee if it's no bulk, just depending if it's taking rocks damage. Toxic is nice for Mandibuzz, and it's nice for the Charizard if it's pre-Mega Evolved, or the Landorus, whatever. Pain Split is obviously just there for the recovery, just to be living as long as possible, and the Toxic Spikes, I already mentioned how good those were. This is a primary check to Coco, as it can take 2 Thunderbolts and then get off a Gunk Shot or a Pain Split or Toxic Spikes or whatever I want to do, and just kind of be annoying in that sense. Next up, we got Andrew McCutcheon, the Victini, with the Choice Scarf, Victory Star, Blue Flare, Thunderbolt, U-Turn, and Glaciate, with 140 HP, 4 defense, max special attack, 4 special defense, and 108 speed with a modest nature. So this is gonna outspeed Tapu Koko, as I didn't really see anything else to outspeed with this thing. The next thing I would want to outspeed is the Landorus, but obviously Landorus is 1 point faster, and so if he brings Scarf Landorus, it's gonna outspeed me anyways, unless if he's not max speed. So what Blue Flare is pretty spammable against his entire team, and what is not spammable against Thunderbolt is really good against as well. Snorlax likes taking that kind of coverage, so we have U-Turn just to pivot out. U-Turn's also just generally nice, just for pivoting, and Glaciate's there for slowing down his team, hitting the Mandibuzz decently hard, obviously hitting the Landorus super hard, and just generally being annoying in that sense. So next up, we got Reese Hoskins, the Darkrai, with the Titanium D, Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Focus Blast, and Calm Mind with 44 HP, 4 defense, max special attack, 20 speed, or excuse me, 20 speed def, and 188 speed with a modest nature. This outspeeds a non-choice scarf Landers, I believe, was the fastest thing I wanted to outspeed. And with when we can't even speak. The reason we went Calm Mind over Nasty Plot is because if I can get up to +1 special defense, a Tapu Koko can't two-shot me with Dazzling Gleam, which is super nice. Obviously, you can still U-turn, but I expect him to be Volt Switch, as Volt Switch is pretty free against my entire team. And except for like maybe the Zydog, but like he can just HPS my Zydog anything anyway, so it's not really too big of a deal. Dark Pulse, Ice Beam, Focus Blast pretty much hits everything on his team super effectively, if not neutrally, with extreme damage output. And I don't expect this thing to sweep unless the Coco's gone, but it can definitely like put a dent in his team, so that's super nice. And hopefully I can get Darkrai to work, because like this thing has just been awful for me. Like it's not even a bad mon. I've just been playing like awful with it, especially last week. But either way, hopefully we can get this to work, like I said. And next up, we got Mark Franco, the Delmise with the Leftover Steelworker, with Earthquake, Knockoff, Synthesis, and Rapid Spin with 228 HP, 84 attack, 44 defense, and 148 speed def with 4 speed and a careful nature. This is also a check to Coco, as is the Garbodor, as is like super scary for my entire team. So I definitely wanted multiple checks to that thing. Earthquake plus Knockoff pretty much hits everything on his team aside for like I guess besides the Mana Buzz, but it can still knock off the item. So it basically hits everything on his team for decent damage. And nothing on his team really likes being knocked off besides like the Charizard. So the Synthesis is obviously there for longevity, and the Rapid Spins to get rid of hazards, as I didn't really have room for hazards removal on anything else. And just generally, this is good against Coco, as it as Thunderbolt is a 3-hit KO, I believe. And finally, we got Genskira, the Aerodactyl, with the Leftovers, Unnerved, Stone Edge, Aerial Ace, Taunt, and Stealth Rocks with 108 HP, max attack, and 148 speed with a Adamant Nature. This outspeeds max speed, not scarfed, Landorus, and Stone Edge plus Aerial Ace basically hits everything, as really his best switch into Stone Edge is either the Slowbro or the Chestnut, and both those don't like being either Aerial Ace or taunted, so that's super nice. And Stealth Rocks are obviously there just generally be annoying and just like chip down his walls, like especially the Mana Buzz, as it is like one of his better checks to the Darkrai, so definitely wanted to do that. So anyways, guys, that's the team we're looking at. Hopefully we can pull out the win. We're 4-1 right, or excuse me, 1-4 right now. We're not 4-1. We're 1-4 right now. If you didn't check out the last episodes, go check those out. But you can tell in the thumbnail that we are 1-4, not doing too hot, but hopefully we can turn the season around. So anyways, guys, I'm gonna stop talking and we can hop right into this. All right, guys, so we're back. So looking at the squad he brought the Landorus Eye, the Snorlax, Hitmonlee, Mandibuzz, Coco, and Crustle. So pretty much exactly what I expected. I knew the Snorlax had to come. I knew the Mandibuzz had to come. Most likely, I knew the Coco had to come. The Hitmonlee was good here. Landorus obviously is always good, and the Crustle was really the thing that surprised me. But it was either Crustle or Bronzong in my mind, just for rocks. So, anyways, looking at the team he brought, I knew that I wanted to lead Delmise, just because that's kind of what I led in Mox, and it was basically just a free knockoff every time. So that's just kind of how I wanted to approach this, and just get that free knockoff right off the bat. So good luck to my opponent. Hopefully we can pull this out, get back on the winning streak, or get on a winning streak, I should say. But anyway, so we lead the Delmise, and he is going to lead, I'm not even going to try to pronounce that, but it's the Landorus. So this, like I said, is just a free knockoff, as he does just go for the U-turn. So we learned that he's, based off this damage, that he is pretty much max attack, which is super interesting, because I did not expect him to be a physical set, since I had a Tapu Koko, or excuse me, a Milotic. But you know, I'm not complaining. So we go for the knockoff. We get rid of this thing's berry, which is absolutely amazing, as it gives it less opportunity to basically set up and win in my face. Even though I had a Milotic that could pretty much handle it. But here we will just go on the Milotic. And at this point, he does just go for a curse, I believe. Yep, he goes for the curse, which is no big deal, as I can throw off a pretty free toxic at this point, not have to worry about that. And so we will just toss off the toxic, as it is super free against his entire team. Nothing really wants to come in on it. And here we do land, so we get a nice toxic on Snorlax. And since he doesn't have a berry, he's not going to have any form of recovery, which is absolutely amazing. And he actually goes for the facade, so he's actually packing coverage in case he got toxic or burned, which is like, honestly, is like a really good play on his part. And so here I'm just gonna go for the recover in case he like wants to curse again or something like that, and just get back up to a high amount of HP, or just at least try to stall him out. And he actually goes for the earthquake, so I don't know if he's predicting the Delmice to come in or what, or if he just thought he could KO me with the earthquake from that range. But that was basically a free recover, as it brings me above half. And at this point, I can take a facade if it's not +1. So I will go for the haze and just get rid of his boost. But he actually switches out, which is pretty interesting in my opinion. And he goes into the Tapu Koko. So I definitely should have recovered there, but like obviously I didn't think he would just go hard into Tapu Koko, as he could just keep facading. But he does just go for the go in the hard Koko, as I go for the haze, which does absolutely nothing because, like, you know, nothing was boosted. But here I can just go back into my Delmize, as it is a pretty free play. And he will just go for the Thunderbolt, I believe. Yep, he goes for the Thunderbolt at this point. And it does barely anything to me, but I do learn he is max attack and most likely timid. And so I'm debating if I want to go for Synthesis or Knockoff here, but I decided to go for the Knockoff, as he actually pops off a Z move, so Electrium Z, which, as I was calculating this, I knew I would live. But I did go for the Knockoff, which means that like he won't lose an item, which is super unfortunate. Because I would live, and if I would have gone for the Synthesis, I basically would have like been able to wall this, supposedly, like just based off of how I'm seeing his set. But we do live this pretty nicely, not super nicely, but we do go for the Knockoff. Just basically nothing, does about 10%, and we get a little bit of leftovers recovery, but it's not gonna matter because basically whatever he hits me with is gonna KO at this point, as he does just go for the Thunderbolt yet again. And so there goes down my Delmice, but I'm not too worried at this point, because the only thing that he can have hazards on is either the Landorus, which at this point I believe it, like, I'm supposing it's Scarfed, just because it has a good matchup here, or the Crustle. But at this point I'm just gonna go for the U-turn, I believe. Yeah, and he goes into his Mandibuzz. So yep, I go for the U-turn. It does a nice 10% with a crit. And we don't see an item, so I'm assuming he's leftovers at this point. And here I just go into my Aerodactyl, just to get up some rocks, and just kind of use my taunt tech to like surprise him with this. So I will go for the Stealth Rocks initially, as he most likely will go for the Foul Play, which is alright with me, or Toxic maybe. But we go for the Stealth Rocks. And he does go for the Foul Play, which I know I can easily live, as I am pretty offensive, but I also have some bulk. And so there's not really any Mandibuzz set, unless if he's like super offensive, that would have KO'd me. So, well, I guess even if he was offensive, it didn't matter. So yeah, so there's no chance that was KOing me. And here I just will go for the taunt, as I do suspect him to want a defog, as like it's a pretty free defog otherwise. And he does just go for the defog, which is absolutely amazing, because here I can click a pretty free Stone Edge, and try to sack my Aerodactyl at this point, as it's not doing a whole lot for me anymore. It basically, its job was to get Stealth Rocks and just like kind of be death fodder. But we go for the Stone Edge, and he actually switches out into his Tapu Koko, which is so surprising to me, as he will take Stealth Rocks and a Stone Edge, which had a pretty decent chance to KO. It was like a pretty close roll, and he lives on about like 10 HP, which is alright. It's not too bad. But I will just switch out into my Garbodor at this point, as I do suspect him to just go for a Thunderbolt or a Volt Switch, and he just goes for the Volt Switch, which isn't too bad. And he does get the crate, which does have to me, which is pretty annoying, but after the Black Sludge, it's not going to matter too much. And he actually goes into the Hitmonlee, and I know for a fact that I can pretty much like take any hit he wants to go from this Hitmonlee at this range, and fire off a Gunk Shot and basically KO him. And he goes for the Fake Out, and he has the normal gem, which doesn't make any sense to me. sorry, Willie, but it's true. Like, it doesn't make any sense to me why he did that instead of having the electric seed. I guess just a stronger fake out. But here, I know I can pretty much live this no matter what. As I do live on 2, it was a roll in my favor to live that. So, and we will go for the gunk shot, and we will OHKO him. As it pretty much OHKO'd every time, except unless if he had the electric seed boost. So here he goes down to his Landorus, and I don't really have any reason to save this at this point. It's not going to do anything for me. Like, the only thing it can come in on is Snorlax, but then it gets like a free Toxic Spike, and that's basically it. But we just let it go down. He goes for the Eternity, takes Aftermath Recoil, which is absolutely fine with me, because more chip on this thing is nicer for me in the long run. And so here he goes out into Snorlax, and I decide to take this as an opportunity to recover up with my Milotic, as I do need that thing at a pretty good amount of HP, so I can properly handle things like the Landorus. So I decided to take this as a pretty free opportunity to recover, as I said, as he does switch out into his Mandibuzz, which is absolutely fine with me, because then I can just go for the Toxic on the following turn, as he's going to want to try to defog. So I will go for the recover, get back to full HP until I take the burn damage, and he will get some leftovers recovery and be back up at about 85-80%, somewhere in that range. And so here I go for the Toxic, and I miss, unfortunately, which would have been super nice, but we miss, which is alright. And he goes for the defog, gets rid of my rocks for absolutely free, so but it's whatever. Like I said, it's not the end of the world. So here I know that he's most likely going to want to switch or go for the foul play. So I go out into my, or maybe I just Scald. Do I just go for Rock Scald? Yeah, I go for the Rock Scald, as he either switched out or went for the foul play, which would do nothing because I'm burned anyways. And so he goes back into Snorlax, and I get a Scald off, and I know I can KO him with the next Scald, so that's exactly what I'm going to do. And so my Milotic will pick up another KO. It's honestly doing pretty good in the KO realm of things this season. I think it's has the most kills on my team, which is absolutely sad. Like, it's so sad that that's true, but it is. And so here he goes down to Tapu Koko, and it will live because the Stealth Rocks are not up anymore. And so here I'm just going to sack my what do I sack here? I sack my... Oh, no, I don't sack my Victini. I go to my Victini because I know I can munch on Thunderbolts since he's not a damage boosting item. I believe it's a 3-0 KO with Thunderbolt. Roughly. But I know I can eat it pretty easily and just go for a free Blue Flare, as nothing wants to take that at this point since Snorlax is gone in. So I will just click the Blue Flare here. And it brings him down to Sturdy with a crit, which didn't matter. And I also get the burn, which sucked initially, but then as you can see right here, he is Figgy Berry or Pinch Berry. So unless if you want to switch out after the Blue Flare, which I wouldn't expect him to want to switch out because nothing was really taking it that well. Blue Flare is just gonna KO. So I mean the burn could matter if you wanted to double out into Mandibuzz or something, but it really didn't matter that much. But anyway, so here he's going to go out into his Mandibuzz, as I will take this as an opportunity to go into my Darkrai. And as I know he'll want to go for the foul play no matter what, as he does right here. And so at this point, it does about 20% with a crit, which is fine by me. 25%, I guess. And so just trying to gauge the damage on this, I will go for the Ice Beam. Also in case if you want to switch out on me trying to set up maybe, as it does about 50%, and he goes for the Toxic. And so at this point I'm like, okay, I kind of need to start setting up, but I also don't want him to switch out on my setup and just get a free into his potential Scarf Landorus or his Tapu Koko. So I'm kind of being wary of that, but at the same time wanting to not lose to this. So I'm going to go for the Calm Mind here, as it seems to me that he's just going to want to roost up anyways. And so I go for the Calm Mind, he goes for the roost like I said, and we are now at +1, as the Ice Beam should be doing over half, unless if that was a really high roll, then it should be doing just about half. And I will just go for the Ice Beam in case he wants to switch out into Tapu Koko or something. And as we can see, it does just about half. It does about like 60%, but he's just going to go for the roost. And I'm like, okay, he's just going to roost stall me until my Darkrai dies, which is alright. Like, it's understandable. So here I know I can just start clicking Calm Mind. And so that's exactly what I'm going to do. So we take some more Poison Chip, and we will just go for another Calm Mind. And it's going to bring me up to +2, but at this point, like, Ice Beam's not going to OHKO, and he goes for another Roost, and it's just going to bring him back to all the way full, as he was just about there anyways. But here, this is kind of like my last hurrah, you could say, and I will just go for the Titanium Z, as it does the most damage out of all my moves, so I'm just going to click that right here. And so, Darkrai, it's going to click the Z Focus Blast. It has a roll to KO, just depending on his bulk. But I honestly didn't expect it to KO. Like, it would be pretty close if it did KO, but like I said, I didn't expect it to. So here we will just click it, and we see the HP bar go down super fast, but unfortunately he lives on about 10-15%, and he goes for the roost, so it brings him back up to like 65-70%. Which is alright. Like, I was just doing it to get off the most damage as possible, because now he's officially in Stone Edge range of my Aerodactyl, because prior to this, like, based off those other Ice Beams, I knew that he was pretty especially bulky, so he couldn't take Stone Edges very well. So here I just click the free Stone Edge, as I do expect him to maybe think I want to set up rocks for the Tapu Koko in the back. But I will just click the Stone Edge. We do connect, which is absolutely amazing, and we do OHKO the Mandibuzz. So at this point, I kind of see my win con, and basically, like, here, if he goes into this Tapu Koko, I go, I sack this thing and then go into Victini and click Blue Flare, and if he goes into the Landorus, I sack this thing and then go into my Milotic, and either way, I will be picking up a KO. So he does go for the Stone Edge. And at this point, I'm just assuming, because he just outsped my Aerodactyl, so obviously he's Choice Scarfed, as my Aerodactyl was made to outspeed him. So I'm just gonna go for the free Scald, as Stone Edge is gonna be doing nothing unless if he gets a crit, which he doesn't, and Scald will KO this this Landorus. So at this point, as long as I don't mess up and I can just sack my Milotic here, he can't beat me. He shouldn't be able to beat me. Unless if he's like Roost Calm Mind, but like we've seen Volt Switch and Thunderbolt, so if he has Volt Switch and Thunderbolt against a team with the Zygarde, like, he's crazy. But he will just go for the Thunderbolt, so he doesn't go for the Roost, and I know here after this, after my Milotic goes down, I can just freely click the Thunderbolt, as it is 100% accurate, and just KO this Tapu Koko, because he is on like 10 HP and we're an electric train, so there's no way it's not going to KO. So we will outspeed, we will click the Thunderbolt, and that is GG. So good game to my opponent, D Willie. He played very well, and like we just were able to outplay him, I guess. But he, like, honestly, like I don't feel like either of us made really any mistakes. You could say, like, maybe you could argue that like going hard into Koko was a mistake on the Aerodactyl, but you know, like, it is what it is. So anyways, good game to my opponent, Willie. Like I said, definitely go check him out, go follow him. He's a really good battler, he's a nice dude, so definitely go check him out. And anyways, we are 2-4 at this point. Hopefully we can get back into the winning ways, and we'll have to see. So I'll see you guys next time. Peace.